I get it, you're staring at a dozen pre-built gaming rigs and wondering if any of them are actually worth the cash, especially when a bad buy can sit in your room gathering dust while you wait for the next upgrade. You don't want to throw $1,500 at a box that looks impressive on paper but ends up choking on a single game or forcing you to upgrade the PSU a month later. The biggest question is, does this particular machine deliver the performance you need without hidden compromises? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Skytech Archangel 5 lands in that gray area between just right for most gamers and overkill for casual players. It's built around Intel's 13th Gen i7-14700F, a 12-core, 20-thread chip that pushes past 5 GHz when the workload spikes. Pair that with an RTX 5060 Ti that sports 16 GB of GDDR5 memory, and you've got a combo that comfortably handles 1080 Firefresh titles and can even stretch into 1440p territory if you're willing to tweak settings. The real test, though, is how those specs translate into everyday gaming sessions and whether the rest of the system holds up. First off, the storage setup is generous, a 1TB Gen 4 NVMe SSD. In practice, that means games install in seconds and load times are barely noticeable. I've swapped a few of my older titles onto the drive, and the difference between loading a new map in an open-world game and waiting for the same map to load from a traditional SATA SSD is like night and day. The SSD also leaves room for future expansions if you ever decide to add a secondary drive for media or large game libraries. The case has enough bays without getting cramped. Cooling is where the Archangel really tries to set itself apart. It comes with a 360mm AIO liquid cooler, complete with ARGB lighting that's more for aesthetics than performance, but the cooling capacity is genuine. In a week of continuous play sessions of 4-hour raids in Destiny 2, a marathon of Cyberpunk 2077 at medium-high settings, and a few rounds of Valorant, the CPU temps hovered in the low 60s Celsius under load and dipped into the 40s when idle. That kind of thermal headroom translates into less throttling and longer component lifespan, which is a hidden value many pre-built rigs overlook. Now, let's talk about the power supply. A 750W gold-rated unit isn't just a number, it means you have enough juice to push the GPU harder, add another graphics card in the future, or upgrade to a higher-end CPU without worrying about a bottleneck. In real-world terms, I've seen a few of my friends push their RTX 5060 Ti past 90% utilization without the PSU hitting its limits. The gold efficiency also keeps the electricity bill reasonable compared to lower efficiency units. Who should consider this machine? If you're a gamer who spends most of their time at 1080p with a 144Hz monitor, love the flexibility to dabble in 1440p, and want a system that can handle the latest titles without constantly turning down settings, the Archangel hits a sweet spot. It's also a good fit for streamers who need a solid CPU core count for encoding while still delivering smooth gameplay. The built-in Wi-Fi AC means you can go wireless if your PC sits away from the router, which is handy for those who prefer a clean desk setup without an extra Ethernet cable. On the flip side, if you're a casual player who mostly sticks to indie titles, or you're looking for a budget-friendly solution under $1,000, this rig might feel like overkill. The high-end cooling and 750W PSU add to the price, and you won't see those benefits unless you're pushing the hardware with demanding games or multitasking workloads. Similarly, if you already own a decent GPU and only need a CPU upgrade, you might be better off buying a bare-bones system and swapping in your own graphics card. There are a few practical trade-offs worth mentioning. The case is a mid-tower with a sleek matte finish and ARGB strip that lights up when you boot, but the front panel only offers 2 USB-A ports and a single USB-C. If you rely heavily on external peripherals, you might need a hub. Also, the system ships with Windows 11 pre-installed, which is fine for most, but some users have reported a brief learning curve with the new task view if they're coming from Windows 10. That's a minor annoyance, but it's something to be aware of. Another nuance is that the GPU brand can vary. While the spec sheet says NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5060 Ti, the actual board might be an Asus, MSI, or Gigabyte variant. In my experience, the performance differences between those models are marginal for most games, but the cooling solution on the GPU can differ. If you're particular about GPU temperatures, you might want to check the exact model when you order. The sound level is also something I paid attention to. The 360mm AIO pump is relatively quiet, and the fans ramp up only when the CPU pushes past 80°C. During a typical gaming night mixing FPS, RPG, and a bit of video editing, the overall noise never rose above a low hum. That's